Uh-huh. Click the link and dive right in. AI bites in every spin.
Ever get that feeling?
Yeah.
Like we're all just stuck in some kind of crazy made-up world.
What do you mean, like all of us in society?
Yeah. And I'm not talking about the internet, though that too, maybe.
Uh-huh.
I'm talking about like the whole modern life thing, you know?
You can see that.
And it turns out I'm not the only one. That's kind of what we're diving into today.
Yeah.
You sent over those excerpts from the Human Zoo.
Oh, yeah. Desmond Morris, he was a zoologist, had some really interesting ideas.
Yeah, he really did. Comparing modern society to, well, you guessed it, a zoo full of humans.
It's a pretty wild concept when you first hear it, the human zoo.
It is. But then the more you think about it,
Mm-hmm.
the more it kind of makes sense. Cities are habitats, routines are like, I don't know, almost like an exhibit schedule or something.
Right. We've built these complex structures, but they also kind of constrain us, like enclosures in a way.
Totally. So then the question is, how much of our behavior is just us being, well, human animals,
Mhm.
and how much is shaped by this zoo we've created?
That's the core of what Morris is getting at, that tension between our biology, our instincts, and the culture we've built around ourselves.
And I think a lot of listeners can relate to that, right? We've all got those primal urges, but we've also got these societal rules we're supposed to follow.
Exactly. And it shows up everywhere. Think about those power dynamics at work, you know? You're climbing the corporate ladder. Is that really so different from, say, chimpanzees competing for dominance in a troop?
Whoa. Okay, that puts things in perspective. It's like even in our fancy suits and offices, we're still kind of playing out those ancient patterns.
Right. And it's not always a bad thing either. Competition can drive innovation. It can push us to be better. The point is to recognize it's there.
To see it for what it is.
Yeah.
So, okay, if we are living in this human zoo, does that mean we're basically stuck? Like our biology dictates everything and there's no escaping it.
See, that's where I think a lot of people misinterpret Morris. He's not saying we're just puppets of our instincts. It's more nuanced than that. It's about recognizing the push and pull, the constant interplay between nature and nurture.
Okay, so how does that play out like in real world situations?
Hmm.
In the excerpts you sent, Morris talks about power struggles, sex, even competition and things like business deals, like there's some kind of tribal warfare.
Yeah, those war games, as he calls them. It's fascinating because you can see it everywhere. Business negotiations, political campaigns, even just trying to get that last parking spot at the mall. It's like we're still playing out these ancient survival strategies, even if the stakes are way different now.
So even if we're not literally fighting for our lives, those same instincts are still driving us.
To some extent, absolutely. Think about status symbols, for example. Fancy cars, designer clothes, those things aren't about basic survival, right? But there are still ways of signaling our place in the hierarchy, just like a peacock flashing its tail feathers.
Wow, I never thought of it that way. It's like we're all peacocking around trying to impress each other.
In a way, yeah. But like we said before, it's not necessarily bad. Understanding these instincts can help us make better decisions, navigate those social situations more effectively.
It's like knowing the rules of the game, right? Okay, so this is all super fascinating, but I have to ask. If we accept this whole human zoo idea, does it make us feel kind of trapped? Or is there something liberating about it, seen behind the curtain?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? Does recognizing those invisible bars make you feel confined, or does it give you a sense of agency, like, okay, now I see the game, I can play it differently?
That's a tough one. I think maybe it's a little bit of both. On one hand, it's humbling to realize we're not as in control as we think we are. But on the other hand, it's also kind of empowering, right? To understand these forces that are shaping us, even if we don't always realize it.
Exactly. And that's why I love exploring this stuff. There are no easy answers. It's a constant process of learning and discovering more about ourselves.
Well, I think we just gave our listeners a lot to think about today. And if you're feeling inspired to explore this human zoo concept even further, definitely check out Desmond Morris's book. It'll make you see yourself and the world around you in a whole new light.
I'm sure it will. And who knows, maybe you'll even start to see those invisible bars a little bit differently.
Maybe we'll all become better zookeepers
Yeah,
for ourselves and each other. Until next time, thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
absolutely. See you next time.
Uh-huh. Click the link and dive right in. AI bites in every spin.